Hello everyone, I'm Broughy1322 and welcome to episode 25 of the Choking Hazard podcast with my usual co-hosts, Mr. Sugar-Free Nos over that side.
Hello.
And
Please, Mr. Sugar-Free
RDT.
Nos is my father, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, God.
Just Sugar-Free Nos then. And RDT
Yes.
down below.
This is already downhill.
Yeah. And our special guest tonight is the one and only Mr. Boss for the win. Welcome to
The
the
one and
podcast.
only. What an introduction. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The one and, yeah, the second time of asking. For those who are watching this as a video or listening to it, you won't have heard the fact that we messed up the intro because I left myself muted. I say we. That was on me. But we're going to be talking...
Don't group us into that.
No, sorry, it's all my bad. We're going to be talking about many things tonight. We're going to talk about GTA. We're going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about some, more controversial and critical topics as well. It's going to be a good discussion. But before we get into anything, I should just mention that we are now available on Spotify. So in addition
Hey-o.
to iTunes or just the RSS feed, if anybody's watching this on the video format, you can check the link in the description, and we are on Spotify, so you can let Nos have his dream of being a radio show host as you drive to work listening to our wonderful voices.
Or drive home from work. Or drive to the beach. Or
Or
drive
at work.
Or drive at work, as we discovered
Drive
last
at work,
a few weeks
yes.
ago. So, thank you, Ross, for joining us on this piddly little podcast. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm glad to be here, obviously.
The situation of how you ended up being on here is that you just happened to tune in, right? On the podcast
Yeah,
with
it was
Sonny
your
Evans.
show. Yeah, it was your show 2 shows ago, I think, with Sonny. And I think Sonny retweeted it. I follow him on Twitter. And the first thing that happens when I check out the show, it's just like 10 straight minutes of Mr. Boss talk. And I was like, wow, I wonder if this is the norm on here. And so I just asked Sonny, and we kind of just started talking back and forth. He said something about being on the show, and I was like, that sounds cool. Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. He was the catalyst, and I guess for those who, a lot of people probably already know who you are who are watching this, but for anybody who doesn't, how would you describe what you do? If somebody hadn't seen a single video of yours, how would you describe yourself for anybody out there who just listens to what we do?
So I'm sure a lot of you guys know that I mostly play GTA 5, but I do upload other open world title games, Fallout 4, Just Cause 3. Later this year we have a big Rockstar game coming out, Red Dead Redemption 2. But mostly I just talk about things that I find interesting in GTA 5, whether that's news or mods or things that are going on in the community. Anything I find interesting, I just tend to upload.
All right. So I think something that all of us want to know, and I specifically want to know, is just the mechanics of running such a big channel, because you certainly have the biggest subscriber base of a guest that we've had before. So getting to talk to someone, there's not a lot of you guys who are over that 1 million sub mark. What differences are there to say, when you were doing YouTube at my level of 150,000? Is there much difference in how you do, your day-to-day work? What's your workload like? What's your process?
Well, a lot of it had to do with doing this full time now. When I had a much smaller subscriber base, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers, I was balancing going to university and doing YouTube full time, or part time, I should say. And so I didn't have a lot of time to, I guess now I have more opportunity to make more videos and do more live streams. Whereas when I was in school, I was obviously balancing exams and trying to find a job at the time. So I think the biggest difference is a time thing, being able to fully commit to what I do now. The size of the channel, to me, doesn't really matter. I think trying to just do the videos I do is what's important.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like if I had 1 million subscribers or 50 million subscribers, I'd probably still be doing the same videos I'm doing now, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That makes plenty of sense.
I used to. I guess I haven't really changed much of how I've done things from 50k to 100k to 150k. You tend to just continue to do this, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. It's something I don't look at. I'm not counting subscribers. Like, although do you know that thing that like is like an alarm clock, but it's like YouTube subscribers? Have you seen people that have that?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's really cool. You can like, not to like plug this because I don't even know who creates it, but it's like this like alarm clock, but it has like your YouTube subscribers instead of telling time. And so it'll go up as like it goes up in real time, which is kind of cool. Or if you were losing subscribers, that'd be really depressing. You go down the other way.
Just the alarm clock sound that it gives you as you're losing subscribers, and wah wah wah.
Yeah, it's a really bad beep.
Yeah, now under 100,000. Yeah, that would be depressing. What are your kind of like audience demographics? Do you ever look into much at the analytics?
Yeah, that was a topic I brought up.
Yeah, that was something that Nos definitely was interested in.
I do, and it's a little tough because I know not everyone is 100% transparent and accurate when they're making their YouTube thing. Like, I remember when I first made my first YouTube account, I was like, I'm 24 years old because I don't want people to judge me like I was this younger person. I also wanted access to YouTube videos that they might deem inappropriate. The majority is like middle school, high school, college, that are people that are just interested in open world games like GTA 5. And a lot of guys, like 98% guys. And I'm pretty sure the 2% girls are just guys with girl accounts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know anything about your audience demographics, Nos? Do you look at your Twitch analytics?
Yeah, I do. It's but you don't have the male-female thing on Twitch.
Okay.
You really just get location. It's split kind of 50-50 Europe and US. But that's really.
Do you not get
really
age or anything on Twitch?
No. I mean, I could look.
I never really look at the Twitch analytics actually. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of channels in general on YouTube would be more tended towards that, you know, the middle school, high school, lower end of the spectrum, teenagers, that sort of thing. Just because that's the group of people who are watching YouTube these days. You know, you don't tend to get as many adults watching. But my analytics, I think the 25 to 35-year-olds are the main bulk. They're the maximum. And then it's either side of that, the 40s and the 20s beyond that. So I don't know, maybe my channel's a bit weird.
Yeah, if you want an adult viewership, I think the best you can hope for is like 18 to 24. That's the most mature demographic you're probably going to get.
I just also know from my personal experience, like when I was in middle school and high school, I had more time to watch YouTube videos than I do right now. So I think it just makes sense naturally as well.
As Woozy says in the chat, we are all old as shit. Yeah, we've got a few oldies here. Yeah, how old are you, by the way, Ross?
I just turned 24 last month. A lot of people either get me as like 12 or like 48. No one's like... I either look very old or like super young.
People either say for me, I either sound old but look young. I look 12. But
I kind of get that.
Oh, yeah.
All of us here, but RDT look 12, I think.
Yeah,
it's the beard.
It's the beard.
It's new too, so you know.
Yeah,
my beard is young.
I think you should keep the beard. I think it's been a positive change in your life, actually.
I've gotten a lot of compliments on the street, not gonna lie.
On the street, just random people stopping you saying, wow.
Just random homeless dudes. Just like, hey, buddy.
That's where the nice beards are. The homeless guys, they've always got long beards, so
they got time to
saying
grow
you
it
look
out.
nice. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were that young, Ross.
You thought older?
I turned 23 in October, so you know, I didn't realize we were around the same.
I'm always...
Was your guess younger or older? Was your guess younger or older? I'm just curious.
I thought you were gonna be older. I thought you were gonna be more around like Bruffy's age. Yeah. Now I just feel like so much less accomplished knowing that you're so close to me.
I hate the fact that I always end up being one of, like, it's becoming more consistent and more of a thing that I'm becoming the oldest person in a group. Like, it's not all the time, obviously, because I'm still only 28, but it's becoming more likely to be the case, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm sick of it. Yeah. So, you're like, how do you treat YouTube? Like, what's your mindset with YouTube? Do you see it as like a creative aspect and a way to get out sort of your creative juices flow sort of thing, or do you see it more as a business aspect?
Well, contrary to popular belief, I do enjoy what I do. I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't having some degree of fun. I mean, obviously, I get to play, at the end of the day, I get to play video games and upload me playing those video games on YouTube. But it certainly is a business for me now, and it would be foolish for me to not look at it that way, because it's how I depend on, my livelihood. So if I didn't treat it seriously, I feel like I would be taking the wrong approach to what I was doing. But at the end of the day, it's always because it's been about I'm having fun. The reason I started my YouTube channel, this is kind of an interesting story. And I think it was in 2010, so almost 8 years ago today, because it was in March. I wanted to be friends with was it Hutch and Sea Nanners, because I used to do Call of Duty videos.
That's old school.
That is very old school. And I said they're not going to be friends with me if I don't do stuff like them. So that's exactly why I created my YouTube channel. I wanted to be friends with a couple people. And so it was always about having fun, and it still is to this day. There's just a business element to it.
Are you friends with them
Want to be
now?
the popular kid.
No, I've never spoken to either of them.
8 years later. The actual goal of your channel still hasn't been achieved yet.
No, it hasn't.
It's just that one thing that keeps him going every single morning.
That's why I wake up every morning. Hopefully one day.
So go on.
Bruffy, I want to ask a question here. So you obviously view yourself as a content creator. That's why you do it.
Sure.
But would you put yourself under any other labels? Like, for one, I'm thinking entrepreneur, marketing yourself. Like, do you think that you have any of those other skills? Have you attained or used any of those other skills to grow your channel in a way that other creators haven't? Like, you're content creator / what would you think?
So I feel like that was a big part of what I learned at university. A lot of people don't know that about me as well. I graduated from university, I think like a year and a half ago. So I have a degree in business, and I learned a lot of things there while I was doing YouTube half-time, going to university full-time. And I do actually have I don't want to get into the details of it, but I do have my own company. It's based around my YouTube channel. It's a public company. You can look it up, like most public companies are. It's not unlike the stock market. You can't buy stock in Mr. Boss for the Win, Corp.
Damn.
But I mean, I do, and it's I would say I'm a GTA content creator for the most part right now, even though I have branched out to other games.
Yeah, you've got.
But at the end of the day, I like
all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, but at the end of the day, I like description as YouTuber, because I feel like that's not a weird thing to be now. Like maybe early on in like 2010, 2011, 2012, that was like a little weird. But now, I mean, you see so many successful people doing YouTube. Maybe not recently. There hasn't been as great of publicity for YouTube, just based off of some things that have occurred. But for the most part, it's generally a cool thing to say to someone, like, I'm a YouTuber. So that's kind of what I like as.
It's a pretty standard thing these days from what I've seen, that as you get to a certain point and a certain income, you would be better off, for tax reasons and all that kind of stuff, making yourself, your channel into a company, a limited company or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense, but it's strange when you think about it. From when I think the majority of people, at least it was for me, and I imagine it was the same for you. You did it as a hobby. You start making videos because you just want to make videos, and then you turn into this thing where you are yourself running your own company out of doing that. And it's a very, very new, strange medium to be doing that with.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with like other social media platforms too, like Twitch and Instagram. I mean, you can make a living being an Instagram star if you want. There's nothing that's, I mean, I've seen tons of people do that. And getting back to your point, yeah, making something like an LLC. The reason I did it is it seems like, at least in the United States, I don't know about anywhere else, and not to get political at all, but you're really punished if you're an entrepreneur in this country in terms of like how the government treats you tax-wise. So it is nice to set up more of like an official sort of corporation.
Yeah, I think that's the same in the UK as well. When you get to a certain
sure it is
point,
worldwide.
it becomes better. Yeah,
I'm just ignorant to government and tax laws in the UK, so I didn't want to assume.
So, has your motivation sort of changed as time's gone on? Obviously, when you first started making YouTube videos, it was, I assume, just to, the enjoyment of making videos. Or were you thinking even then? I suppose you said you wanted to be friends with nanas, but has it always been a thing where you've been pushing towards it being a job and then it, making money out of it and having a living from it?
Never the case. At first, it was, as you said, I started playing Modern Warfare 2 just to be friends with those sort of people. But from day one, the GTA videos I do right now were the videos I did, back when I had 250 subscribers, telling you what's the best way to go about doing this, telling you what's going to be coming next. And I went to university, I went to school with the thought of, I'm just doing this YouTube thing part-time. This is kind of cool. And then, of course, when GTA 5 came out, a little bit of luck, a little bit of right place, right time, a little bit of skill, and then it kind of, boom, takes off into what it is right now.
Is that where it all happened, GTA mainly?
Oh, yeah. And you shouldn't go back and watch them. But my first GTA 5 videos were it's probably a miracle. I mean, so the very first video I uploaded, it was, I got GTA 5 early. Don't do this. I did the shadiest Craigslist deal of all time. Probably could have died, but I got
back alley.
Yeah, it was some back alley, but I got GTA 5 a couple days early. And the first thing I discovered was the Chiliad mural, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was some Illuminati Easter egg. And so my very first video is saying how there's this Illuminati reference on top of Mount Chiliad. It's not good.
So, I feel like that's sort of the thing that you can be criticized, obviously, in the GTA community for the kind of subject matter that your videos have, and something like that is kind of a prime example of how people would look at something like that and say, well, he doesn't really get full by it. He doesn't really think that. He wants to just make a video that has something to bring people in for the views. Is that something that you're aware of, that sort of perception? And do you understand that people can think that, or do you think it comes from just how how people have banded together in sort of the way that they've spoken about you?
Mob.
Are you talking
mentality.
about what do I think of people's opinion of me?
Of maybe clickbait adjacent type videos. We're not necessarily going to label a clickbait, but things that aren't necessarily completely.
I think they're asking, can you self-reflect and understand why some people would lump you into that category, whether justified or not?
Yeah,
No,
but speculation. It's
Finally,
not confirmed
we got
or not. Yeah.
Okay, are you talking
Alabama boy?
Three brains in the choke.
No. I just want to be clear. Are you talking about sort of the speculation videos that I do, or?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Even the chat don't understand my question. That was terrible. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
It was off the idea of the
properly answer.
speculation type videos that, you said originally that you saw this and you didn't know what it was, so you put up a video on it, whereas now it's become more of a thing where people would see something like that from you and it would be, he's just doing that for the views.
Yeah.
To answer the first part of it, that's something I just enjoy. I really do enjoy asking questions and coming up with theories and hypotheses and stuff like that. And that stuff I did even in Call of Duty way back in the day. To answer the second part, I mean, my goal at the end of the day, and I would say every YouTuber's goal at the end of the day, is to try and get the most, this sounds really rough, but try and get the most amount of views on their videos possible, have it be as successful as possible. No one uploads a video with the goal and the agenda to say, I would like this to be seen by no people.
Yeah.
And so that's the attitude I take into it. And I feel like if I can have fun and if I can, speculate on a topic and just offer my thoughts and opinions, then that's just one type of video I upload on my channel. And like I said, my goal at the end of the day is to make videos that hopefully people enjoy, but also hopefully, will be seen by people and can hopefully grow my channel just like everyone else uploads videos. They want to be seen by other people and they want their channel to grow.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a conflict there in those two goals? Do you think that sometimes the pursuit of trying to get as many views can take away from creating a content that's ultimately as enjoyable as it could be?
I think it depends. And I'm not sure I don't know how I can answer that in regards to my content, because at the end of the day, I'm putting out what I think is enjoyable to watch and what hopefully I think people will enjoy watching. But no, I think you can, and there's tons of, first of all, there's way more talented creators on YouTube than me, not only in the GTA space, but in whatever sort of space you're in. And I personally think that you can make content that will get lots of views or has the potential to get lots of views and can also be what people perceive as good or they enjoy it. I feel like you can have both. It's not a case of where what's that analogy with like the cake? You can't eat your cake and have it too. Is that it?
Yeah, that's the one.
There we go. I just something like that. I can't remember what it is, but I feel like you can on YouTube.
And it's about finding that balance is the real art of YouTube. Would you say that?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Okay.
It seems like a lot of times though, with some, I'm not going to say you specifically because I'm not too not this isn't a slight at you. I'm not too familiar with your work. I have watched your videos before, like with news related things, but it kind of seems like, are you familiar with Geraldo Rivera?
I'm not, no.
Okay, well, he's like a journalist.
Went to
he's got a mustache.
asylum or whatever. Did that,
He had
what sort of content does he do? I'm sorry,
he's like a Fox News analyst. He is a journalist on a newscaster.
Okay, gotcha.
But he had, I think it was probably in the 90s or 80s or in the last century. He had this big special about finding Al Capone's vault, and his whole thing was like, oh, we're gonna open up Al Capone's vault. We're gonna see what's in it. This is gonna be amazing. And they opened it up, and there were like a couple of tax forms or something. It was something so mundane and unexciting.
No gold coins, basically.
Yeah, it was like, what do you think about people that put out videos like, oh my God, is there a swamp monster in the sewers of GTA? And then they're like, nah, there's no swamp monster. Sorry, guys.
I personally don't watch. So I don't watch a lot of GTA videos or video gaming videos for the most part, mainly because I don't have time and I'm also not incredibly interested. But I do see videos like that, and I always wonder, like, does anything actually happen in videos like that or no?
No, they just walk around,
I
think.
Okay.
For 10 minutes.
I think that's the kind of, I don't know, like, I'm really not sure.
Clickbait. I would say that's clickbait.
I think that those videos are definitely interesting, and I think it all comes down to, at that point, the content creator making it interesting. Like, can they put whatever sort of theory and spin on that video to interact with their audience? I don't know. I know what videos you're talking about, but they're not my cup of tea. I don't watch them.
Yeah. So your opinion is, if there's entertainment and someone's entertained, then that's the value in it. It doesn't have to be necessarily true, but as long as there's an entertaining value to it, then that
there's a reason I don't upload videos like that, because I don't think I personally wouldn't think it would be enjoyable to like walk around Michael's house or whatever for like 10 minutes and see if you see like a shadow on the inside or something like that.
Yeah.
But if people enjoy it, I mean, you can't fault someone for making videos like that and consistently having an audience that comes back to watch it. Whether a certain segment of the community dislikes it or not is up to them and their opinion. But if it works for that person, it works for that person. And it's hard to like, point the finger at them and say like, you got to stop what you're doing.
I can agree with. I think a lot of I can understand a lot of the negativity that surrounds bigger GTA YouTubers from the GTA community themselves. There's a lot of, I'm sure you've probably experienced it, some negativity out there towards yourself and towards just general big GTA YouTubers, and they've got there's this general stereotype of it, and I can understand where it comes from, but there's always that idea of just don't watch it, and that's something that I always say. Just don't, if you don't like it, don't watch it. But people do.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt. And that's like my number one argument is I am 100% in support of anyone that does not like my content. That's the beauty of the internet, and that's the beauty of the world. You're allowed to have opinions on whatever you want for the most part. My goal is I wish people would just enjoy content that they enjoy watching. So, for example, if you don't like me, don't watch me. It's a win-win situation for everyone. You should enjoy things that you enjoy, and you should not focus on things you don't enjoy. And that's how I view it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Okay, so have you? I want to get your opinion on something that is a general thing for YouTube. Is the idea of ads on videos, because for the most part, there was all that big situation where people would put up videos that were just over 10 minutes long, and I think you got lumped in with that for a while, or at least from what people the general consensus of people seeing your name along with others. And then when you actually look at your channel, there's many that are under 10 minutes and all this kind of stuff. But there's a lot of content creators out there, the bigger ones, that do actually go 10 minutes and then just over a little bit, so they can put an extra few ads on the video. What are your thoughts about that?
What are my thoughts on being lumped in or doing something like that?
Doing something like that.
I have seen really scummy versions of it where people have like slowed down gameplay to get it to stretch out, which looks so weird seeing like GTA in 50% speed. And I've also seen people do like really long intros, like it's just a black screen for a minute. And I've never tried to do that. And I've always stated in the past, my goal is not to make a video go to 10 minutes or go to 11 minutes or whatever the case is. I have videos on my channel that are literally 9 minutes and 59 seconds. And I could have easily just dragged the gameplay out one more second if I wanted to. But it's just however long it takes me to get the information out. Some people said I'm a slow talker, or I pronounce like the full version of. A lot of people give me grief for sometimes saying Grand Theft Auto Online instead of GTA Online.
Why
and
do
a
you
lot
do
of times
that?
I'll just
Since you're here and we can ask
it's
you.
just I don't do it on purpose. Like I'll start with GTA 5, I'll move on to Grand Theft Auto 5, I'll say GTA Online, I'll say Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm just trying to not say the same thing over and over again, because I do have to say GTA 5 a lot in my videos, and I feel like if I said it the exact same way every single time, that'd get maybe you think my videos are obnoxious regardless, but I feel like if I did that in general, it would be more obnoxious.
But do you have to say GTA 5 like multiple? If the video is about GTA 5, can't you just say like GTA or something like that?
Depends.
I suppose, yeah. If you're talking about like a DLC or future games, I guess you can have to specify. But
it really just depends what the subject of the video is about. I don't know. I feel like saying GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't know. I feel like there are bigger problems in this world to solve, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, yeah, but you're our subject of discussion.
I get it.
Saying you're a problem, but
No. I get it.
So like going back to what you were saying earlier about how, and this is what I was kind of saying about this conflict of treating YouTube on a business side and trying to get it to as many viewers and make as much money from that specific video as possible, to the creative side and just making an enjoyable video. Obviously, YouTube tends to prefer that longer form video that has more ads on it, because it's going to make YouTube more money as well as the content creator. So they'll push it to more people and the video will generally be a little bit more successful, and the creator can extend it out a little bit to make a lot more money. But that only happens if you can put a 10-minute video up and still only have one ad on it, or one at the start and one at the end. But then you see some people that put multiple ads in. How do you treat the way that you apply ads to your videos? Do you have a set idea of what you do and where you put ads, or how many ads you're going to have for the length of the video?
So I typically only do a lot of my videos, especially now, don't reach the 10-minute threshold. So if I have like a 11 or 12-minute video, I'll just throw like an ad in the middle, somewhere around like, I try and do the math like in my head, so I'll throw it on like 6 minutes or something like that. And on my live streams, I think it's every 15 minutes. So it's kind of like a TV show or something like that. And I don't know the way it is for you guys, but typically when I watch YouTube videos, sometimes even if I know a video has ads, sometimes like the ads won't work or they won't play. Maybe it's because I'm not watching on mobile as much as the majority of my audience does, which is another interesting question. I think a lot of people are starting to watch more on mobile devices and stuff like that. But I have seen some pretty horrific videos where it's like ads every like 45 seconds. I didn't even know that was possible.
No, I know. There's some of them are
I've
ridiculous.
run
Some of
into
the
videos
extreme.
like-
Yeah, I know. But that's the
I
thing.
saw someone in the oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it's interesting that you said what an ad in the middle, because I can't stand for as a viewer from a viewer perspective when I'm watching a 10-minute video and I'm watching 5 minutes in and then it cuts to an ad. That infuriates me, and I generally most of the time just click off the video. I hate it, and I never have mid-roll ads in any of my videos. So from a personal perspective, I don't like to see ads in the middle of videos because I think it ruins the experience for the viewer. But then if I was to only care about or care more about the way that the money that I could make from that video, the success that video could have, then I would put an ad in the middle of a video. So again, there's that sort of conflict there of the user experience when you're creating the video to the creator getting the most benefit out of it. And do you fall one side or the other on that? Do you think ultimately it's more important for the creator to have that the benefit from that? Or
I try and have a good balance, which is why you don't see like someone in the chat said they saw a 20-minute video with ads like every 10 seconds, or maybe it was a 10-minute video with ads every 20 seconds. And that's just absurd. No one's gonna watch that. And so I do try and have a nice balance where, if it is a 12 or 13-minute video, I'll have an ad in the middle, and that's it. And then on my live streams, there'll be like 3 or 4, maybe 5, depending if it's like 2 hours long, sprinkled in there. And that's just the way I've done it for, I don't know when I was partnered and had the ability to put ads in the middle of videos, or when they started introducing that. But that's just always the way I've done it since day one. And I've also never had any real pushback to that. No one's come to me and said, I can understand your argument, and I get that. And there have been cases where I've been watching a video and there's an ad and it's like, it's not worth my time to finish this video. But then there have been cases where I have stayed on, where I was 7 minutes into a video and it's, I don't know how long the ads are, like 5 or 10 or 30 seconds or whatever the case is. And then I just kept watching as normal. So I think it depends. You just have to find the right balance.
Yeah, it's something that I brought up with a YouTube partner manager who I was talking to a few days ago. That I asked about, do you see much pushback from, a lot of people on the analytics on your side leaving videos when you put an ad in the middle of it? Because she was telling me you could put more ads on your videos, and I was like, well, I don't really want to. I don't think it's the best way for people to consume my content. I prefer to just have people watch all the way through and enjoy it. But then I asked, do you get much pushback or much people leave a video when they see an ad? And she said no. So I can understand you not necessarily, people will just accept it. But just from my perspective, I prefer to not interrupt, the viewer's enjoyment of the video, I guess. But every channel and every video is different in that respect. So if you're not seeing on the analytics that people are going to leave because of that, then why not, I guess?
Yeah, and well, another thing too, I mean, if the people that would push back on a mid-roll ad already have uBlock, Origin, or AdBlock installed anyway, because that is their pushback.
That's true.
You're probably right.
That's a good point, Nas.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I was about to make the comparison. It's kind of like watching a TV show on Netflix versus like when it's first on air. Like, of course, in a perfect world, you would love to watch that TV show, with no ads. But if you really enjoyed the TV show, you'll watch the ad and continue on. Whereas, like what you mentioned, Nas, if someone already has sort of an issue with the ad being there and might click off, they're already either using ad block or they're might not necessarily be the biggest fan of you. And
yeah.
Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Have you had any issues with demonetization, by the way?
No, I haven't.
No.
I've been very fortunate with that, and I don't want to. I'm like, let me put like the, let me like cross my heart, like
what?
And I don't, and I really
to
don't.
Japan, I see.
Never been to Japan, so I don't know if this is the only thing that causes it, but I don't, and I know you don't either, Adam. I don't swear in my videos. I know that's a thing that gets some people, but you would think in a game that's title is a felony that might trigger some things with YouTube's algorithm, and it might be a lot to do with my network. I'm partnered with Machinima, so maybe they have some like secret formula.
Man,
keeps me
starting
safe.
for Sea Nanners and Hutch in the park.
I know. The
Like
circle is now
retro.
complete, isn't it? Like,
Thing is, I
so
did
no,
ask again. I asked the person at YouTube about it, and this I said is that that my problem was that every single video that ever got demonetized, and it wasn't all of them, it's just every now and again, they never get upheld. So when I do a manual review, it always goes through fine. So if I was to put that video up straight away, which sometimes I just have to if it's a testing video or something, I will lose out on views and lose out on, sorry, not views, but advertisements, money from that video for no reason, because it was actually fine. So I did ask if, is there anything you can do? Do you have a whitelist? Do you have any kind of, I've never had a video have a problem. But she said, no, there's nothing. It's just all automated. There's nothing you can do. So I'm shocked that you've not had any issues. Have you never had a video even get like the yellow icon and then you've had to get it manually?
No, I have,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it's very rare. Like, I think the most recent one is from like 10 months ago, something like that. So that shows you about how often that happens, like once every
Wow, that's
10 months or something like that.
This podcast gets it every single time.
Yeah.
I haven't said one bad word yet, so it's not my fault.
Well, we usually
we
don't.
keep them down.
Yeah.
I have a theory why this gets
What if it would be the
demonetized.
chat? Like, okay, so wouldn't this be some like really weird conspiracy if like the algorithm could read like the text on the screen? Maybe it sees like the swear words in the chat or something like that.
So
I
it's
don't
all
know.
their
You
fault.
guys.
I knew it was their fault all along. It's always the
But I
chat's
haven't
fault.
I haven't seen a dollar.
This podcast gets demonetized because of the name Choking Hazard.
Oh, you're right.
Grand Theft
I didn't even
Auto
think about
doesn't.
that.
Well, some of them get through though. To be fair, do you know what I think
feel
it is?
like-
To be, I think the majority of them happen because of the subtitles, and if YouTube's subtitles don't correctly auto subtitle it to the correct word, and they put something else in there, and obviously with a long form podcast, there's a lot of words for it to do. I think it's to do with that more often than
Watch this podcast be the first one to not get demonetized. You're gonna come back to me.
Have you
You're
given
gonna
us your
wonder
blessing now?
what I'm doing right.
that. Yeah.
Blessed
poll,
our
man.
video.
Secrets exposed.
That will be your next video, like how to never get demonetized on GTA
Oh
Online.
no.
So what's your workflow when you're making videos? Obviously, you've got this huge channel, nearly 2 million subscribers. When you get up on a morning, how much time do you spend, recording stuff, editing stuff, talking about stuff, just thinking about stuff, behind the scenes tax things and business end things? Like, what's your workflow? How do you manage to keep up having so many videos all the time?
So when I wake up, the first thing that probably takes priority is, did Rockstar do anything? And contrary to popular belief, Rockstar is, as far as being a content creator, and I love Rockstar, is one of the more difficult companies to work with because they don't tell me
One
anything.
of the more difficult companies to work with, this man says.
They don't tell, for the most part, they don't share anything with YouTubers and streamers. So when we find out about DLC information, it's the same time that you are. And so sometimes that does make it difficult, but I typically check to see if they've done anything. And then from there, it's a couple of sites I like to use. I subscribe to the Grand Theft Auto Online subreddit, the GTA 5 subreddit. I'm on the Grand Theft Auto forums, and a lot of people post some really cool topics and ideas there, have really cool findings. And if it's something I deem that my audience would be interested in checking out, I say, that's cool. I also love mod videos, so I've been doing a lot of the like big house mods lately and some of the car mods. And so typically once I find out what I'm going to do, pretty normal process, just going about creating the video, doing the voiceover, uploading the video. I try to be pretty strategic of trying to upload on a daily basis. I don't know when's the last time I haven't uploaded, and I try and do that just because I feel like at this point I almost feel like people expect me to, so I kind of hold myself up to that same accountability. And then as you mentioned, tax stuff, it's tax season right now, which is a little not fun. But once I get done uploading YouTube videos and doing my stuff, I just have like a normal everyday life. I play video games outside of GTA. I just hang out with friends and do stuff like that. So pretty normal. It's not like a quote unquote 9 to 5, but it's, I wake up, I go to work, I do my work, and then I'm not working.
He puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like the rest of us. All right.
That's true.
It's true.
God.
One leg at a
Regular old
time.
dude.
I guess that kind of segues nicely into our, you were mentioning about you look at Reddit and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And this is kind of a topic that at least my audience in particular they wouldn't forgive me if I never, if I didn't ask about this and have a discussion about this. And that's the idea of giving credit in videos. And
Sure.
when you make videos, giving the appropriate credit to sources that you use to make those videos and things like that. Just what are your general thoughts on how you should give credit, first of all?
Sure. So I will be 100% transparent that when I was not doing YouTube full time, I'm fully aware that I was not the best about being very transparent and open about where either I got information from. And I've even discussed this with you because there was many occasions where I saw one of your videos and said, boom, that's what I need to know, and just put it into my video. But I would say since I started doing YouTube full time, which I think would have been at the end of 2016, I know the first DLC I did full time was like the bikers update. So whenever that came out, I feel like now I try and go over the top in crediting people, whether they come up with an idea or whether they find something or whether they said something interesting or robust or newsworthy. I always try and make that very transparent in my video. And I feel like that has been the case since I started doing it for the most part full time. And if I do forget, which is never intentional, never malicious, I'm always super open. If you see something on Twitter, like just say like, hey, you forgot to mention me. I will do my best to try and remedy that. But yeah, I feel like ever since I started doing this full time, I've taken that a lot more seriously than when I was trying to balance university work and other things as well.
Why is
Give me
that?
an example. Go
on.
If give me an example,
Sure.
like what's the last video that you featured content, say a mod or
A
mod, maybe or a thread that was on GTA forums, or really anything where credit was to be
DLC
given
idea.
to something. Give me an example of how you would go through.
How I would go about giving credit,
Like,
or how I would go about
giving credit. I'm
so
just interested.
if anytime if it's information, I'm gonna read that person's name off. So let's just use someone like Foxy Snaps, for example. If Foxy Snaps tweets out something like QA beta got updated, I'll say Foxy Snaps tweeted QA beta got updated, and I'll even have his tweet on the screen or something like that. Same with whoever, insert GTA information person here, or if it's a mod, I'll include that mod link in the description. Just basic stuff like that.
And the way, I guess the way you give credit is a little bit different than the way, say, Mikey at Central Gaming Hub would.
Sure.
You tend to put the information right into the video. Like you say, this is the new fastest supercar. This is new. Do you have any idea? Like, do you think that kind of defeats the purpose, and that, say, you get the information from Bruffy, the statistics about the cars from Bruffy?
Sure.
Why would they have to go watch his video at that point?
Because I personally can't offer the insight and the knowledge that someone like Adam can. What I'm just doing is, at that point, quoting a source. So I can give my personal opinion on a car. A lot of people say I don't have the best insight, which is probably true. But I know, not to I am on your podcast, but I'm going to quote the best source I know. And for vehicles, that's always Adam's car video. And in his case, sort of like someone like FunMW2 or Yan, how they have credibility in the community. I know Bruffy has credibility in the community as well. So when he does his, I just said Bruffy, I'm sorry, Adam.
Sorry, whatever works.
I know, I'm not trying to bounce back and forth. It's just, and so whenever I do something like that, I will say, this is what Adam said. And I always mention that if you want to check out his video or even look at his insight, because I know that I can't provide it, that link is there in the description. What I'm just passing on is sort of the headline, like the highlight.
It's interesting that you sort of said that you changed the way that your approach. You were more consistent with giving credit when you did this full time, because I know that my opinions on this has kind of changed as I've grown on YouTube, because when you're a small YouTuber and you get credit, you get a shout out, for example, it's great. It's the best thing. You might gain a lot of subscribers compared to what you had, and it's great, and you don't really want more than that. And then now I'm just using my testing videos and you using my testing information as an example, but this goes for all sorts of things. Now I'm doing this full time and I'm living off this. This is my this is my income. So there comes a point where what RDT says is true, that when you, for example, use my information, you'll take the lap time and you'll say this car is the new fastest in the game, or it's 5th fastest in the game, or it's 48th in the game, whatever. Then people don't need to go watch my video for that. A lot of people, there's no the people who were more interested in the actual nuances of that are probably already subscribed to me anyway.
Seeing the car go around the track. And
they know anyway. So at that point it becomes, do you feel like if you're not giving, you're taking that main headline, as you said, that doesn't lead to people to come to my video, and that's essentially sort of taking food off my table because this is my income. Do you feel that that's a way that this thing could be, at least seen?
Yeah, I can definitely see it that way. And if that's something, not to get like this way, but if that's something you do want to discuss with me, as I mentioned earlier, like if anyone has a problem with what I do in videos and on YouTube, anyone is always free to talk to me, as long as you come at it respectfully, which is what a lot of people don't do.
Yeah,
and in that case, I'll typically, yeah, as you can imagine,
I can think of a few people.
Just maybe once or twice you've seen something like that. Or if you have a better way that I should present your information in a video that still encourages people to check out your video, definitely feel free to let me know. I'm all for making changes like that. It's just the communication has to happen. I'm all open for that, though.
I'm thinking of a nice like cliffhanger type situation. Like, look at this car. Oh, you're gonna like this one. It's a zinger. It's a real quick one.
Just drop adjectives.
Yeah, go to Bruffy to see how well this one does.
Yeah, it's fast, guys. It's fast. If you want to see exactly how fast, then the link's in the description.
It's a zippy one. Oh boy.
There you go.
But I mean, I guess there is that sort of, there's that value proposition of at what point do you don't, if you're not taking any information from it, then there's no point to shout it out in the first place. So, there's no point in using that information if you can't use that information. So there is a balance there, I imagine. But it's just interesting because I've been shouting out Mikey, his Central Gaming Hub, his channel for a few weeks now, and he's been doing the same for me, and it's just given me a different perspective on how he does it in comparison to how you've done it in the past, and how you're certainly trust me, you're not the worst when it comes to giving credit. There've been some times where you might have forgot, as you said, a few years ago, but there've been a lot worse who just use that information without any shout outs whatsoever and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just interesting that you had a different perspective on that when you went full time, and I kind of have also had that same change of mind and change of perspective, because you realize that this is your job, this is your livelihood, this is how you pay rent, you pay all the things that you need to pay. So okay, it's interesting.
A lot of it is a time thing. Like when I was making GTA videos in college, I mean, I was uploading videos like in class, so it was taking everything in my power to still be able to consistently upload YouTube videos and still be able to, get my way through university. And so a lot of it was just like a sort of a time and attention thing. I would just make the video, upload, boom. I wouldn't pay attention to, focusing on, did someone say this first, or was this information presented by someone else? Did they find it, etc. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, I can get that.
I think it's a multifaceted problem too. With there are people out there. There are the people out there who want to know. Oh, well, how good is this car in the corners? How by someone who knows how to drive. In the game and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But there's some people that just want someone to tell them, buy the Wagner, best car in the game, fastest car, and that's it. and
Yeah, that
as far as
yeah, that's true
Right.
with my when you look at my YouTube analytics for the fastest car videos, it's always skips to number one. You see the biggest peak of viewers is always at the number one spot where people have just skipped straight to where they need to go.
Yeah, because that's all the information they need. They're not
Yeah.
doing serious racing. They just want to go fast, in a straight line. No, it doesn't matter if they understand why downforce makes a car faster or what even is downforce. No one cares. This is just the fastest. This dude who knows what he's talking about, or at least he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, says it's the faster.
I've
Or
done
says it's
that.
the fastest.
I'm not gonna lie. I've
So-
definitely done that.
Yeah, I think as far as suggestions go, you did say, if you have suggestions. I mean, it seems like the only way to remedy the problem would be to do as Central Gaming Hubs does, and if you were to make a video on, say, a car, you show the car, show the modifications, obviously, which you already do. You give your thoughts on the car, and then if you would like to know how fast this car is around a circuit or whatever, then you say, check out this video, and that's really the only way to remedy that. But then, are you giving your viewers all the information? That's
Yeah.
the question. And do you feel like that is the thing that you need to do? And that's really a decision that only you can make for your content and what, you feel like sets you right. Do you feel like just giving credit is enough? It's all a personal decision based on how you feel, really. So,
Yeah.
and, people can judge you for your decision, and people have judged you for your decisions.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what Ross was saying before.
Mhm.
He was saying, everyone's open to their opinion. That's
yeah.
why
That's very apparent,
why try to hide it.
and they're not afraid of showing it.
Just be you.
And as disrespectful a manner as they possibly can as well.
How do you feel about your relationship with the GTA community? Just in general.
I mean, I can tell you from I don't know. Obviously, I know there's my core audience that enjoys the sort of videos that I make. But as I was explaining earlier, I don't watch like a lot of YouTube videos on GTA content. For the most part, I'm just, figuring out what's relevant today in GTA and then kind of working onto my videos. And after that, it's pretty much done. I know, I mean, we've talked about some of the things that people have maybe disagreed with me. And the big thing for me is like, even if people are hating on me, they're just fueling the hype machine. And this is not like a secret diabolical plan I have, but
Yeah.
it's just, I'd rather not have people talk about me if you're not enjoying what I'm doing. The only thing you're doing when you make a Reddit post or a post on a website saying how much you hate me or how much you dislike my content, which you're allowed to do, the only thing you're doing is just giving me more attention, whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
And even if 99% of people agree with you on that post, there might be 2 or 3 people that see that Reddit post, say, I've never heard of Mr. Boss. Let me go check him out. And they might like my content. And if that's the case, all you've done is promote me, even in your attempts to not promote me. So
Stop talking about it.
Sorry. I'm
not
sorry
you.
if I am like talking a lot. I feel like I am.
That's
That's the
point.
point.
No,
I'm not
yeah.
talking to you. I'm saying
Okay.
people on the
No,
internet.
I was just saying in general.
Yeah.
In general.
No, I agree with that. I've always said the same thing. Like if people they come into my chat sometimes and they say names, they bandy names around all the time of different people who they don't like, and I'm like, why are you talking about them? I just don't watch it. Leave it alone. If you don't like it, you're only.
All
And then people,
publicity
there's
is
always
good
people in the chat who go, who's that? And then they go look up who it is, and you're spreading. You are spreading it.
It
around,
spirals out of control at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
So
One
yeah.
thing I'd like to say before we move on, it was the topic previously. The one mark says the thing is though, there's no copyright on information. Well,
That is true. That's
If
something that
copy-
I've always
if-
wrestled with myself, though. By the
Yes.
way,
But
I've put
I
out
will
information out
argue-
there. It's not mine. It's just
Yeah.
it's just information. Once it's
But
out there, I don't
I
own it.
will argue if copyright laws and punishment for those laws are the only thing determining whether you give credit or not, that inherently makes you a worse person. I will say,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. Is that something you want to do? Is that something that you are okay with yourself? Can you go to sleep at night and still feel good, and that's a decision that every content creator has to make for themselves, especially Ross, when you're making the content that you do that relies on information not only from yourself but from other sources, whether the list of sources you gave, that's a decision that you can make.
I guess that's the thing in general. Like it's part of, in general, we're part of a GTA community. We're part of a YouTube community. We're part of a YouTuber's community doing GTA videos. It does speak volumes about how you treat other people, not only within your small communities but at large as well, and other people who are doing similar things to you. And there's definitely been content creators before who did GTA videos who definitely saw it. We're on the very much business end, as we were talking about earlier. Didn't care about the content, didn't care about being part of the community of YouTubers or helping out a fellow YouTuber, or if they've put in all the work for this testing video, they'll just take it and say that it's the new fastest car in the game without any credit. That happened. That there's been a lot worse in the past. So you gotta. It is up to each individual content creator to decide how they want to do that, and really, because there is no copyright infringement for information, there's nothing that anybody can do about it, and you just have to base your opinions of the creator that you're looking at on how they interact with the community at large on that, I think.
Yeah, and talking to you, Ross, I definitely get the idea that there's no malicious intent behind anything that you do.
No.
And I can't blame somebody for making their money and going out and doing their thing and getting their piece. So I know that you try, and you have definitely remedied your mistakes in the past and give more credit now. And so I'm kind of on the fence about the whole credit. I mean, obviously give credit, but when it comes to something like Bruffy's testing, and again, Bruff, I love you, man, but it's one guy on the internet racing cars who says that this is now the fastest car. It could very well not be true. It is true, but it could very well not be true, and you're just displaying that information. So it's a weird gray area, because it's not exactly copyright, because you're not stealing his video and posting it as your own. But I still feel that there needs to be credit, which you have done. So yeah,
with that subject, it's weird, because it's like 90% objective, because there are some cars in the game that are faster, but then obviously a lot of it comes down to the driver. What are their preferences? Do they like the look of the car, whether that matters or not? So that is sort of if it's red.
Flames.
The biggest issue I've run into that, and since we're on this subject, was some people. I think it was on the GTA forums. I don't remember, but it was so someone. It wasn't a matter of credit. It was a matter of one person didn't want me to say what they had stated on the GTA forum site, just for an example. So I don't even remember what it was. It was a couple months ago. But let's say someone says, this is going to be the next DLC car. And I go in my video and I report such and such said, this is going to be the next DLC car. And they were upset that I specifically had used it in my video, which I would say you can't do that. Like, that's if you're putting information out, anyone is free to report on it
on a public forum.
Yeah, especially on the internet. The internet is so open. Yeah.
And I think that's different when you attach a YouTube video to it and a voice as well, because I think that's the only thing, and I don't know a lot about copyright, I think that's the only thing that protects my YouTube videos, because some of my videos are just GTA gameplay with me talking. I think it's my voice is what protects me. So I'm not sure how it would work with your information, Adam. That is kind of a weird area, and I feel like YouTube is struggling with that too, amongst the handful of problems they have right now as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's something.
And whether it's a legal thing.
Yeah, it's like there is no law covering it. There's nothing, and would you want to do anything anyway? It's just car lap times on GTA, but it is definitely something that I've experienced over the years, that you see people use your information without any sort of credit whatsoever. Not necessarily you. There's been lots of other situations as well, and it just, you realize that, wow, that's insane. I put in all that effort and someone's just ripped it completely. And that's the trouble of sort of creating that curated content that only you can do. That, you know, that's the risk, I guess.
I think that's just, as much as it sucks, that's the internet in 2018 right now. So this happened to my friend. I'm sure you might not know him. I've been friends with him for a while. His name is Zach Cox TV.
I've heard that
You might
name,
not have heard of him.
but
Not familiar.
So he had a video and he had a face cam on his video where someone literally downloaded his gameplay and then just superimposed their face cam onto where his face cam was. And so he's been dealing with that sort of stuff. And I feel like that's just like, that is so YouTube right now. Just like that.
You see a lot of
happening.
that recently. Like, you don't know
And
what's
because
real.
the background gameplay is like, whether it be Grand Theft Auto or another Rockstar title, you know, they own all the copyright to that. So it's like, you can't copyright any gameplay.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
it.
tough.
I couldn't. I think I was speaking to someone at YouTube about content ID, and you can't do that if you run a gaming channel. If you're uploading gaming videos, you can't be put into the
own
content
none of
ID
that.
system.
Yeah.
There's no way. You can, you know, if someone re-uploads your video, you can do a manual submission for that. You know, they've re-uploaded my video, they'll take it down, but you can't be in part of the automated system because it's
Right.
gameplay. It's not your footage essentially. But yeah, it is a strange grey area with that, and you see that with Nintendo these days, where you can't upload Nintendo gameplay or they'll take it down because they're on the very harsh side of it, that they own that. They made that game.
Nintendo is so backwards when it comes
They
to
really
working
are,
with
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because they make some great games, but it's really discouraging to not want to do anything with it because you have to go, I don't know the specifics of it, but don't you have to go through some like Nintendo program to like
Yeah,
upload
and they'll
videos?
take like 40%
It's
of
stupid,
the
yeah.
income and all that.
Yeah, and it's like, that's so unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the last bit of quote on that topic should go to Berex in the chat, because he puts it well that this whole thing about credit and all that kind of stuff, it's not about the details of copyright infringement. It's just about the let me just find it. It's about the creative integrity, and that's ultimately what it is. Some creators will want to give credit and where credit's due, some won't, and you just have to deal with that and make your opinions on each creator based on what they do. That's how it is.
It's a moral thing.
Yeah. Coming back round to GTA, what do you think about
Yeah.
GTA right now? The state of GTA, how it
A
is.
little boring,
It's a
my
little
personal
boring.
opinion.
A little boring.
Nos can have a conversation with
A
you
little
about that.
boring.
This is-
So a lot of people are gonna, and I don't say this with like, I love GTA. I love Grand Theft Auto, GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto Online, but and even with the large amount of content that Rockstar has been doing recently, it follows relatively the same formula. It's a business where you start at point A, retrieve something, bring it back to point A, do something with point A, and bring it to point B, and then it comes with a bunch of cars. Or it's something like a racing update, like what was it, Cunning Stunts in 2016, and then the new Cunning Stunts in 2017. That's like what it's been for the last like 2.5 years. And I feel like there's just got to be some change. There's got to do something a little bit different. And I don't know what that is because I'm not affiliated with Rockstar in any way. I don't have any say at all. But I feel like there's got to be something different.
Well, Nos, you've just come off a month of playing only GTA on streams, which is not what you normally do in your push for partnership. How's that gone for you?
Awful.
What did
I
you
don't-
do for a month?
I'm asking myself the same thing. But it wasn't every day for a month. It was I stream Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and I've been doing a push for Twitch partnership because there's been the way it works on Twitch. You stream on YouTube, don't you? So
Yes.
So on Twitch, there's quality options like transcoding, like if you don't want to watch because I stream at 6,000 up. 720p, 60 FPS. Some people can't handle that. And quality options, which is what they're called, are only given out based on like need, right? So if I start my stream and there's only 5 people there waiting for me, it doesn't matter if in 20 minutes I have 100 viewers. I still do not have options. for people to be able to watch my stream. And then there's, emotes and stuff like that. But that's why I've been doing it, and I've just been racing, and it's awful because it stems from a problem where that's the only thing I enjoy in this game anymore. So, PvP is not my thing. Free mode really isn't. So it's been stressful. I
think you can, sorry to interrupt. I think the way to enjoy GTA Online right now is really to be creative with it. And I don't know how one would go about doing that, whether it's doing the sort of things we do, like car shows and stupid little challenges and races and whatnot, or whether it's, if you play on PC, diving into something like 5M that allows you to role play and, do various things like that. I think that's how you keep it enjoyable, aside from when the DLCs come out.
5M was definitely a big help because I played 5M quite a bit over the month, and we've got I'm staff on a racing server that we've got. It's Project Homecoming Racing to plug it, which everybody knows that's here now. But
you'll be seeing it on the channel soon.
Yeah, it will be on the channel, on Ruff's channel Sunday. But it's racing, but it's different racing. We can do all kinds of different things with it, and we have all kinds of new different cars and some of the cars that you've actually reviewed too by the Vanilla Works team. Some of the cars that you've looked at, the Dominator Classic, the Gauntlet Classic, stuff like that.
They do some really cool stuff.
They are excellent. They are, and they're on staff for the server.
It's really impressive, just the modding community in general. And it almost makes you wonder, couldn't Rockstar pluck a few of those people and say you're gonna work for us now? I feel like that would be the best way for them to get people to really create some cool stuff.
Yeah, you're assuming that they care though.
Yeah,
that's true. Thing. They just don't.
They got
care
too much
anymore.
money on their keyboard. They can't bother to type.
Exactly.
Yeah, it takes too much energy.
That's probably what it was.
Off.
They just had hundreds of thousands of dollars on their keyboard. And they're like, Moonbeam is definitely a muscle. No, I meant to click Van. What
you
the
know
hell?
That scene from Breaking Bad where I think it's Bill Burr and
Huel.
Yeah, they just lay on the money. That has to be Rockstar right now. Every they do their quarterly reports, and Take-Two CEO, who I'm assuming is a nice guy, he's always GTA 90 million copies, 85 million copies, most microtransactions we've ever sold. I'm dang, these guys are just they are balling right now.
Yeah, that's why we didn't get a single. It's no surprise that we didn't get a single player DLC, and it was turned into Doomsday Heist for online. But it seems like everything that comes to online has such a short lifespan these days. It's boring soon.
That goes back. We can tie that back into the discussion earlier of making content for money and making content for enjoyment, and how both of those ideas can clash as well. Once if you're making content just to sell shark cards or sell the game or whatever, it's obviously smart to do the least amount of effort for the most amount of gain that you can. I mean, when you're at that level, that's what you should want to do. And, that could be tied back into that as well. With how profitable the game is that a detriment to the game itself? And
I mean, that's something that we've always said for a long time about how GTA has been going, and the quality of updates have been getting honestly worse. The actual content is better, but much more spread out, and it is true that, I mean, this is gaming in general now. I think that you get these games that are more about making money than they are about making a great game experience, especially on the microtransaction side of things.
Yeah, almost every game that's released now has and this might not be something Rockstar might be kicking themselves right now because it might be something they can't implement, but almost every game you see right now has loot boxes. And that's sort of the one thing that GTA Online doesn't have. It doesn't have the loot boxes. And I wonder how people would react if something could you imagine if Rockstar put liveries, specific liveries that could only be gotten out of loot boxes into the game?
I would.
An example. I'm not giving them ideas or anything. I'm just saying
No, I would go mental. The rant on my
that
channel
has to be their next step.
It would be just ridiculous. I hate loot boxes with a passion in all games. I think they're just gambling, glorified gambling, and I hate it. But if they did that with GTA, that would be a huge rant. But Red Dead's going to have microtransactions confirmed.
No
probably
doubt.
going to be loot
Loot
boxes.
bags, different
Yeah.
cowboy hats.
It
What
will
would they
be.
be called? Loot? They wouldn't be loot boxes. Loot. What is something from like the
hats on.
1890s?
Yeah, loot satchels.
War bonds.
Loot
They're
satchels,
war
yeah.
bonds.
Loot bonds.
Yeah.
It's gonna. I'm guaranteeing it, and there's gonna be.
I'm looking forward to seeing how much of a mess it'll be. That's for sure.
But it's got to burst at some point. This whole loot box craze, microtransaction focused
I think
way
you're
of the
right.
gaming industry, it's got to burst at some point, and they're just trying to make as much money out of it as they can. But I don't know. Good games are starting to be few and far between now, and it's just a shame that that's the way that things are.
I personally think the government is going to step in. Again, I don't want to get into the politics of anything, but I think you've started to see some countries say like, no. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, a
and
lot of countries are now, especially in Europe, are investigating loot boxes at least, and you've got a few states in the US trying to push back against the whole.
I think it
loot
was like
box thing.
Hawaii. Like,
It was
who's playing
Hawaii,
a video
yeah.
game in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Like, sorry
Someone
for
with
if
a high
anyone's
ping.
in Hawaii.
That's who's playing video games in Hawaii.
Who?
Someone with a high ping. That's it.
yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, but I mean, we rant
funny,
about this every single podcast. It always ends back at this sort of thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you play
There
many
are
other
three things
games,
that are definitely,
Ross?
I guarantee.
I didn't mean to drag us into the
focus.
loot box topic.
It's all right. It
Topic can
happens
go wherever.
regardless. What other games do you play? Do you play GTA? In fact, do you play GTA outside of making videos for it?
I do on occasion. Just sort of depends on what's going on. Like if I have any friends on, or if I have any crew members that are looking to do something fun. But for the most part, it's when I'm working. I play a lot of Rocket League, which has turned into one of my favorite games of all
What's your
time.
rank? Come on, get that on the table.
I don't. It's the purple diamond, whatever that is. Like the first purple diamond. I just got that like a couple nights ago. I play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I'm not very good at any of these things that I'm mentioning, but I do like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I play FIFA. The one game I have on my Xbox is FIFA. So I turn on my Xbox One. Not to hate on the Xbox One, but I turn on my Xbox to play FIFA.
And that's it.
The Xbox One is not a good console.
The Xbox One is only
gonna-
good for backwards compatibility. That's the only thing it has going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
It does, yeah.
My ass.
And
No.
GTA 4. GTA 4 is backwards compatible on Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, you,
So it's
well, you play
Crackdown
that.
1 apparently now.
That was a great game. Not to date myself.
All right. I mean, should we move on to some of
I
our
got a
regular
question.
segments? Oh,
No,
go on.
No, we should
I have
not.
a question.
RDT has a question.
Okay.
Hit me.
Yo, have you seen the rap battle that you were involved in?
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I heard about it, but I don't think I ever watched it.
You should
missing
probably
out.
watch it. Just saying.
Honestly, there's like 40 Mr. Boss videos uploaded every day by like insert YouTuber here. Like Mr. Boss did this, Mr. Boss said that. Can you believe what Mr. Boss did? It's like Mr. Boss TMZ. Like just
Well, it's on Bruffy's channel. So
no, yeah. I know that, but apparently that happened a bit ago, a long time ago.
Yeah, that was my.
yeah, when he hit 100K.
That was my 100K. The story was
Is there
that
a Mr. Boss
when
track out there? I'm sure there is.
when I had like 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, I said I'll do a rap battle at 100K, just random off the cuff, just because I never thought it would ever happen. And then I got to 100K, and I actually had to do a rap battle.
Had to do the promise.
Yeah,
That's
but
why you don't make promises like that.
this man RDT, he sorted it all out. He is a rapper. That's what he does. So
Kind of.
he
No,
wrote
I do
it.
rap. I'm not a rapper.
You don't. You can skip my
think
parts.
there's a
They're
difference.
terrible, to be honest. But it turned out pretty interesting in the end. But we shall never rap in a video again. Jesus.
2017 was the year of the diss track, and now 2018 is going to be the year of the boxing matches. Of people
yeah,
beating
the
each other.
boxing, yeah. The boxing matches.
Bruffy
that's
versus
it.
KSI.
Bruffy versus
All I know is if I got in a ring with anyone, I would literally just start running. That's my best chance. I would you just see me like running around the outside of the ring.
You seem like a tall dude. You could probably use your reach.
I'm
Get a
tall,
jab
but I'm
out
not
there.
like I don't have any mass on.
That's fine.
So if
Just
I
get
took
the
a
jab
punch,
out.
no, I'd take a punch and there'd literally be a hole in me. Like it would just go straight.
Oh man.
No chance I'm surviving that.
I mean, it's crazy how YouTube develops over the years. Like, it's crazy that we've come to a point where YouTube creators are having boxing matches and getting huge numbers of views, like insane.
I will never understand trends. Like, wasn't it earlier in 2017? People were like blowtorching kitchen knives and like putting that on things, or was that 2016? Do you remember that trend?
People are paying things with pennies now. It's like
That's true. I don't know what makes sense anymore.
Yeah,
Nothing makes sense anymore. That's the answer.
we're getting older. That's what it is. We're not in that
I
realm
can't
anymore.
connect with the young kids anymore.
No.
Oh, it's the kids that are wrong. Trust me.
It's always the kids that are in the wrong.
That is a ridiculous thing. But not to like go on a rant, but like, I mean, it's one thing to do like a challenge on YouTube that might be silly, like a girlfriend does my makeup challenge or whatever. But then there's putting poisonous laundry detergent in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's almost Darwinism at that point. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
like,
It's definitely meant to be.
come on. It's meant to be.
That's
It's
natural
meant to be.
selection at its finest.
Yeah, that is the modern day natural selection, isn't it? That's modern day evolution.
I really long for the
Modern
day
day evolution.
when we, ate our detergent out of boxes in powder form. That was
yeah.
If you're sophisticated, you do lines of cascade.
Oh my god.
Oh, the
And
kids do
there's
that.
demonetization.
Demonetized. All the good work we had done. All the good work.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
gone. It's gone.
There it's gone.
Oh man. All right, regular segments. Have we got any more? No more topics to talk about, right? You guys.
I don't think so. I think we did a good job. We're good job, us. Good job, everybody.
All right, let's move on to our regular segments. So, as always, we've got the phone bank is open to subscribers and regulars on Discord. Pop in the phone bank MB Hammer, our producer, because he's got a fancy title and we try to look professional over here. Our producer will be there to take your calls, and we'll do that at the end of the show. That is on our Discord. But
Ask questions anybody in here, even Ross.
you can ask it.
Our guest.
Yeah.
Ask any of us anything.
You might want to
Can
ask.
someone fill me in on what I want to know what we're doing right now, because I've never the segment I did tune into 2 weeks ago was not the regular segment. So
The rate, that's a good idea. You know, we should actually, we never actually explain
so I
what we're
have an
doing.
idea
You know,
what-
that we could have new listeners who never know what we're doing and are like, what are they going on to now?
Surprise!
We are not taking written questions. Get out of here with your written questions. So this is the regular segments portion of the podcast where we do RDT's Apple Juice Minute, which is very much not going to get any. That's why we get demonetized, of course,
Drink.
because you drink.
Get out of here.
And we try to pass it off as apple
apple
juice. It's
No.
For YouTube monetization purposes, yes, it is actual apple juice.
okay.
We also do the choke of the week, which is a choke in itself because our show is bi-weekly. Is bi-weekly the right
It
word?
used to be weekly, and then no one had time for it. And by no one, I meant Ross.
Yeah, I think it's bi-weekly, semi-monthly.
I don't know.
Is that
Either
not-
way. So we
Choke of the fortnight.
let's do that now
every 2
anyway.
weeks.
Let's do the choke of the week. Let's have a look at these chokes. So
Choke of the week.
for anybody who's listening, our listeners out there who don't watch this on Twitch or on YouTube, we're about to show 3 clips, the best 3 clips that people have submitted of their fails this week, their chokes in racing or whatever, and you guys in the chat will vote on the best one.
Yeah, and you can find these, Ross, in the choke chat, that channel.
I see that.
Discord.
you.
Alright, let's pop to here and let's start playing. So, Blister in first place. That's not what you normally see
Versus
in a
Wonder
compact
Sniff.
race. Oh,
Oh, no.
I vote for that one. I vote for that one. Wonder Sniff, you got my vote.
you're not allowed to.
What?
Wow.
God damn
That was
it.
quick.
Yeah, that's not gone well. That's not gone well from first place in the Blister.
No.
Alright, we got the X80 next. Here we go.
In beautiful 60 FPS from CoinDog stream. Apparently NetRex is playing on
That's second
CoinDog
place
stream.
up there. Okay. I
Oh,
like
yeah,
that
there he is.
animation.
Look at that
telling us
That
what
is some
second
nice
place was.
video
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that was.
And I love how the
that's
2 went upside down.
yeah.
Stepping
It's
up the
impressive.
game here. People.
I think this video just might be too good to be voted choke of the week.
Yeah, too much editing has gone into this.
Yeah, we need our chokes grainy and in 240p, please. We're changing the rules. We only accept
Getting
clips.
slightly off subject, you know what has bothered me so much about the cunning stunts is the way Rockstar made the tubes. They're horrible for YouTube.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
bit rate
It's
just
like,
can't handle
make them
whatsoever.
solid, guys.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Gosh.
How can he choke it? No way.
Oh.
No
Yeah,
way.
yes way.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty bad.
Oh, that's bad. The good old
wall is
hitboxes. The good old hitboxes on these stunt
Wow.
piece. That is.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
That sucks. That cost him first place.
That's. All right, we're
That
Fortnite.
generally just
Fortnite
made me
clip,
say,
interesting.
wow.
I haven't
Yeah,
played
Fortnite.
Fortnite yet. I need to play Fortnite. But
Yeah,
you
I'll
guys
play
are gonna
with
have
you.
to tell me
play with me.
what. No, did that guy just kill himself?
He just shot a tree with a rocket launcher.
Oh my gosh, I saw that.
What an idiot.
Okay. Good job.
Wow.
Good job, that guy.
There's some pretty good jokes there.
How many people are in a Fortnite game?
I think it's 100. It's
Is it
like Battlegrounds.
Yeah,
It's
I
100.
know it's a battle royale game. I just didn't know if the player.
No, I
count.
was just saying like the amount is like Battlegrounds where it's 100 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
need
he
to-
got
I need
all
to
the way
try.
to the end, and then he does that. So that's a joke on that guy's part.
Oh yeah, he could have won. He easily should have won. He had the high ground. Haven't you ever seen Revenge of the Sith? He had the high ground.
So for those who are here, for those who are in the Twitch
Revenge?
chat, the straw poll has been posted. Vote for your favourites. We are not gonna tell you which are our favourites because we don't want to influence the voting. RDT.
Oh no, yeah, whatever, man.
But we do have a honourable mention as well that we should show whilst people are voting. This was put down as an honourable mention anyway. I haven't watched any of these. Normally we watch them beforehand.
Yo, whose emote is that? What channel is that from?
I don't know where that
You're talking about
quote
that
is
red
from.
faced one?
Fort Hike. No, that's a Fortnite.
Poking a little
thing.
bit of fun at either, Ross, I'm afraid.
No, I've never.
This one.
No way, never. and then what's? Oh wow! And then the third place guy. Okay.
Is it even close?
I want to see this slow mo.
Jesus.
That's not gone. That's not gone well. Yeah, that's.
Oh,
And then-
we're looking at the bonus.
And then the Chrome Wagner is of course the one that goes and takes the lead.
Yeah, of
at
course
that
it's the
point.
Chrome one
Yeah.
that just goes unscathed.
The chrome one with dollar wheels.
The Chrome just like scoots on through. Like,
I
don't
like
mind
the
me.
message at the end as well.
With dollar rims and white walls.
We have very strict rules, at least myself and RDT do, about what constitutes a choke for this segment. Because strictly speaking, a choke is, where you're definitely going to win the race, you're going to succeed at whatever you do, and then you mess it up
Or
of your own
Fortnite
accord.
match.
But what?
For all we know.
That's what we consider a choke to be. But we get so many clips that are just fails. They're in last place, but they explode or something in a funny way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a choke, honestly, for me.
Derek says, I had a sexual interlude with a gymnast once that looked a bit like that clip.
Demonetized.
Yeah, if we weren't demonetized before,
If we
are
weren't
now.
demonetized now, yeah. That was it right there.
Do we have an answer yet on the voting?
Yeah, it's.
Is
it's
it
fairly
constant?
definite.
All right, okay. You go on. You guys give your favorite chokes. 1, 2, or 3.
Number two.
Number two.
I think number 2.
I agree.
He was like 6 feet from the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6
So
I think
close.
if number 2 doesn't win, it'll be a travesty, honestly. And
That would be
normally,
a choke,
when we're all in agreement, the chat is behind us. But let's see.
Okay, so in third place was Actual Panda's Fortnite choke with the rockets. In second place was choke number 1, Wonder Sniff. Not the right line for that corner, I'm afraid. Wonder Sniff. And of course, in first place, choke number 2, Netrex. You're bad.
You are
Good
so
job.
bad.
Well,
Net
Good
Rats.
editing.
You are
Bad
terrible.
driving, but great editing.
You are horrible at the game. Congratulations
the
for
wall,
winning
man.
the choke of the
Stay in
week.
Sony Vegas. That's a game that you're good at.
Yeah.
Don't
the-
play GTA.
Is the X80 wider or did he just underestimate the like barrier that was?
I don't even know
probably
what he did. That
just
was
It's
just
expected a flat
the
wall to be
hitbox
flat.
of the car got stuck
Yeah.
in the hitbox. I imagine that there were two. You've got those stunt walls you can do, or the stunt plate pieces, and two were together, and he went kind of and got stuck on the hitbox.
yeah.
That's
The
what happened.
hitboxes are a bit funky with stunt races and stunt props. It's annoying. They were half-assed really when they created
Yeah, if
them.
the hitboxes worked, he would just
Glide along.
Yeah.
So you hit a wall in real life, wouldn't be great, but it would.
Yeah.
You wouldn't bounce off it like a piece of rubber.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Netrex. Well done. Good job. The only time I win anything related to Bruffy and GTA racing is when I choke. Aw, poor Netrex. Good editing skills, though, to be fair. That was,
Yeah.
it was
That was a
impressive.
nice.
It was a nice
yeah,
video.
That number 2 was nice.
Yeah. RDT. I'm
Yes.
excited about your Apple Juice Minute. Let's do it.
You shouldn't be. Anyway. All right. So today, I'm winging this one, boys and ladies and germs. Today we have a beer that kind of sums up my entire an apple juice. Sorry, an apple juice that kind of sums up my entire life. The name of it is the Recreation Ale. It's a sessions IPA, which means you can drink more of them, and recreationally, which is I'm the only one that I know that really turns drinking into a game, and so all the time, and so it's a nice little ditty here that I'll read the back of it for you. Wrap your hand around a can of our Recreation Ale and explore what outside life has to offer. This hopped up session IPA is specially formulated to accompany you on all of your outdoor activities. Pack in this flavorful ale and pack out the memories while enjoying this quaffable. I've never heard that word in my entire life. Quaffable brew.
Ooh, what an adjective! We got a dictionary of that one.
Give us a
How you spell that?
QUAFFABLE.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Quaffable.
Can you use it in a sentence?
It says it means easy to drink. Apparently, it's an adjective, and it's usually informal and referring to wine. It says
Well,
easy to drink.
Well, we
So it's
learned
just
something
not wrong.
today.
So yeah, this is the first learning experience on the Apple Juice Minute. So get yourself a terrapin based out of Georgia, down in Nos country almost.
Oh yeah,
That's where I'm
And,
from.
yeah.
Really?
I forgot. I had that mentioned. We're fellow Southerners. So
All right. Well, start drinking.
I'm unfortunately from the worst Southern state, other than Mississippi. You're from probably the best one. If I had to
What
choose,
southern state are you from?
I'm from Alabama.
I
I'm
went to
next door.
university in Alabama, so don't
Really?
feel too bad. Yeah.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
No. No.
Ah,
Educational
Eagle?
podcast.
Yeah.
or
Oh.
Did I just stumble into some like dangerous territory here?
You did. Well, no, I have War Eagle written on my chalkboard, not by my own free will. People gave me money to do that. But
Quaffle.
God,
This has
that's
been
a
a
great
quaffable podcast.
how about that
I like it.
Iron Bowl last year, huh? Yeah.
Oh god.
What on earth was that? Recreational beer? What?
It's recreation.
It's just what it's called. It's called the Recreation
Does
Ale.
it have less alcohol by volume?
Yes, it does. It's an
percentage?
IPA it's called a session IPA.
So
which
essentially,
is-
you're having to drink more calories to get less drunk.
yeah,
That's your objective.
but it's an enjoyable taste. Like I like IPAs, and
Okay.
instead of drinking like an 8%
So the
beer,
thing
after
that, okay.
3, you're like, what? What is quaffable? How I can't even say quaffable.
Quaffle.
I've had 3 of these, and I can say quaffable perfectly.
Well, we learned something new today. I mean, that's our aim. No, it's not our aim at
Yeah.
all. We never learn anything on this podcast, but we learned a new word,
No, it's
quaffable.
4.7.
I will
not
never
4.
use that in my vocabulary.
I want
Quaffable.
to start using it. I think it's cool. I
I'm
want to
going
start
to
using
start
it.
using
What was
it.
it? Easy to drink.
This water is quite quaffable.
Yeah. My water was quite quaffable because I've gotten rid of it. It's gone. I'm all out.
Good job.
Thanks.
Well, I've learned that by your university choice, we are now mortal enemies. So.
We are. I'm glad we got to the
Sorry.
majority of this
We-
podcast without having that information out there.
Yeah, we wouldn't have let you on the show if I would not be here if I would have known that beforehand.
So we have a few callers in the phone bank. MB Hammer is still
Yeah.
there.
Of course we do.
Yeah, there's quite a few callers today.
Central Gaming
Now
Hub. He was a guest on the
Heyo.
podcast a few. Well,
Yes, he
how
was.
long
He's
ago
gonna
was
call
it?
in. That's the second time that's happened. I think Sarge called in after being a guest too.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's interesting. So we'll wait for MB Hammer to be done with the call screening, the producer job. We'll wait
Yeah,
for him to
it's
come
going to
back
be
in.
important today, I imagine.
Just to make sure
if people
that
watch the
nobody thinks-
podcast, I don't think that it should be.
To be honest,
you
I
know,
think a lot of the audience that we have who watch this podcast and come to even just my streams on a Friday are pretty mature. I mean,
Pretty
the
chill,
chat's
yeah.
been fine. We've been all good. It's
Yeah.
I feel like the quality of questions was I actually like this because kind of on recent events. Do you know Logan Paul did like a now we're demonetized. Logan Paul did a an interview with like Good Morning America, and like Michael Strahan was the person who was asking him questions. He just fed him like softball after
Yeah.
softball after softball, and I feel like the questions here were the ones that people wanted to know. And I also I feel like I answered everything. I feel like I didn't back
I
away.
feel like
from
you
it.
did.
yeah, absolutely. And I think
I will. Yeah.
well, the
What
thing
were
that
you saying, Bruffy?
the thing that like I said from the start of when we had the chance to get you on the podcast, we wanted to do it in a mature and professional way. It's not gonna. We're not just gonna bring you on and start talking about all the things that just go at you for an hour and a half and make it a big hit piece. We want to ask proper questions that people are genuinely interested in, but we want to do it in a proper way as well and allow you the chance to answer them. And we've also had we just want to talk about GTA and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. It's not all have to be about criticism and controversy as well. So I'm glad that you've appreciated it and enjoyed what we've done.
Yeah. And I can genuinely say, honestly, like, my opinion of you has changed. I didn't have a negative opinion of you. It was more neutral and hearsay, but I think you're a genuine dude. And, you're just doing your thing, man.
I think that's a little bit of it, and I don't want to dive back into this too much, but I think because there is so much like I don't know if hate is like the right word, but
It's the
maybe
right word.
Yeah, it's the right word.
Nos says it like it
It's
is.
the right word.
Nas is like, I have not changed my
Let me
opinion.
fix that.
No, that's not at all. I'm just saying you experience hate. Hate is the correct noun.
Yeah.
To
There's so much association with that like sometimes I'll meet people that have like never seen me or don't even know who I am, but automatically don't like me just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like the preposition of, other people have a certain opinion about me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a
absolutely.
life lesson, folks.
Are you guys done stretching? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Took longer than I
stretch
expected
it.
it.
But
Okay.
just to say, I echo RDT's thoughts exactly. By the way, so
I don't. My opinion of
Excellent.
you has gotten infinitely worse.
Worse.
That's
good.
joking.
That was my objective today.
All right, who've we got?
First caller is AJ Malloy.
hello, caller. You're on the Choking Hazard podcast, the show where we ask hard questions and have an even harder time deciphering the answers. Who's your question for, and what's your question?
My question is for everybody, and as Ross mentioned that he was playing GTA 4 again, I've been doing the same recently, and I was asking myself, basically where the character of GTA is in today's, or how much of the character of like playing old games like GTA 4, GTA San Andreas is still left in today's GTA.
Oh,
If you take all the online, etc.
that's a good question because I don't. I mean, I think we're all, at least myself, Nos, and IDT, are universally in agreement that we think that GTA 5, story-wise, at least the single player, was worse than 4 and the 3D.
I
era.
agree.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like it was diluted with the three characters, the three protagonists. It kind of got diluted a little bit from that point.
That was an interesting move by Rockstar.
It was.
to do three.
It was. It brought something fresh and new. But I think from that point on, it's gone. At least from my perspective, going on to GTA Online, and then the character sort of has just ebbed away from the series as GTA Online has expanded, because GTA Online is something completely different now.
Yeah. I
well,
personally think that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, to answer the question, like how many things have been carried over, games like San Andreas takes the cake, I think, for something that's important to me in an open world game, which is extra compelling things to do. I mean, you had flight school, you had driving school, you had motorcycle school, you had all these delivery missions, you had vigilante, paramedic, taxi, everything. Taxi is not even in GTA 5 anymore.
Yeah.
Like in GTA 4 toned it down a bit, but GTA 5 has nothing extra to do, nothing really compelling to do in the world other than collectibles, spaceship parts, and all that stuff. And that's really it. That's the only motivation you have to explore the world. No vigilante missions, no ambulance missions, no taxi, no flight school in the single player. Nothing. Oh, is taxi in GTA 5?
You can ride in the back of one, but you can't.
but-
Oh no, you can, because Franklin can own a taxi shop. I know
That is not the same. That is not. I'm not putting that in the same.
But
Those are side
you can
missions.
Uber people.
Yeah, but those are scripted side missions with characters that have dialogue for a business. That's not the taxi mission that I am referring to.
You're talking about
I'm
the GTA
referring-
3 type stuff where you could just
Yeah,
get in a
any
police
crazy
car
taxi
and do
simulator.
vigilante missions, get in a taxi and do taxi missions. Yeah.
So the thing for me is I didn't like. There were two things about GTA 5 story that I didn't like. The first thing I didn't like is the entire plot of the game is all about Michael's wife sleeping with a tennis coach. Like, if you really think about it. Whereas the plot of GTA 4 is Nico Bellic wanting the American dream and wanting to get revenge on someone that killed like 12 of his friends. And then Vice City was like Tommy Vercetti starting like a cocaine empire. San Andreas was like CJ coming back to San Andreas. But GTA 5 was just like Michael's wife sleeps around. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the
He's
problem.
got a crazy friend.
The problem with GTA 5 is they are very good set pieces smashed together in something that vaguely resembles a story, and that's the problem. I mean, if you think about the things that you do in the missions, they're pretty cool, but it's not connected in any meaningful way to a compelling story whatsoever.
Like doing yoga.
Well,
Oh,
that
yeah.
mission
That's
excluded,
so fun.
but
But I feel like that's what GTA Online is a lot now. Like the actual things that you can do with the missions and the Doomsday heist stuff and the old heist stuff, there is actually good content there. But there's also a lot of missed opportunity with all these great new vehicles where they're not utilized properly. You could have all these gun running vehicles in missions and have a reason to do those missions and have them variable and a much overarching, more wider overarching storyline to these sorts of things. But because it kind of went the easy route, we've got great things, but just not put together as well or as polished or as characterful, to get back to the original question, as what the older games do. So I definitely think GTA 5 and Online has lost a lot of character from what GTA used to be.
I think it's a classic case of Rockstar's eyes being bigger than their stomach, for lack of a better term. It's like their ambition was great. They were like, oh man, we're gonna have 3 characters, we're gonna have this open world and everything, and they weren't able to do it successfully. They weren't able to implement that successfully. It's a cool idea, and without a doubt, you can't deny that having 3 main characters is an awesome idea with 3 different stories.
Well,
But
it
at
was
the
the
same
money
time-
idea.
Yeah,
Because like in GTA 4, if you hated Nico Bellic, like there wasn't really a desire to play that game. You could hate
Yeah.
Michael and Trevor, but if you love Franklin, like you're still good.
who
There's
loves
kind of an
Franklin?
insurance
though?
policy.
He's
Yeah.
the least developed of all the characters. Like,
and
Franklin.
Yeah.
that's the problem though, is that none of them were developed.
well, this is true.
Yeah, it got
You
diluted.
need,
Yeah.
if you're going to do that, you need to have them all be developed either together or separately, because Franklin's backstory was terrible. Trevor's I'm crazy, and Michael is the old man that's trying to
Do you
relive
want to
his
know just how
origins.
crazy our character is? Oh, look at this protagonist from that game you loved. Done.
I hated that. Let's not even get started on that.
I think I think it's time to move on to the next question.
Yeah, I think
Too much.
ambition was their biggest downfall for GTA 5.
But then again, we have to keep in mind that they released it on old gen. They released it on 360 and PS3. It is
You're
for
right.
5 years old now.
True.
That was kind of a weird decision by Rockstar because I think GTA 5 came out on like September 17th, 2013, and the next gen consoles came out like a month later.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, why didn't they just wait? Maybe it's because they
That's
were
why.
developing it and there's nothing they could do about it.
Money. Buying that
too,
game three
too.
times
Yeah.
for
That's
some
true.
people.
Oh, I've bought the game like 6 times.
Yeah.
One for each system, like
Yeah, I have one for every system and then 2 for PC because one for the social club and one for Steam. It's like every single way that you can buy the game, you have to when you're doing this, I suppose. Good question.
yeah, good
HMLI.
question. Thank you,
Thank you.
Anthony.
Who have we got next? Mr. Hammer.
Okay, up next we've got a podcast favorite, Mr. Mega Mario 64.
Hey, how's it going, caller? You're on the Choking Hazard podcast. Who's your question for? What's your question?
My question is for Mr. Boss himself. Simple question for you. You talked about your inspiration of YouTube, but what was the inspiration for your name? Is it just a play on your actual name, or
So-
Ross Boss, or is it something else?
Yeah, so my name is Ross. If no one has figured that out by now. And when I was in middle school, a lot of people called me, Ross Boss or something like that. And so when it came time to creating a YouTube channel, I was like, I have to nail this. I only get one shot at this. And so I really wanted Mr. Boss. That was taken, even in 2010. And the For the Win came from something we used to say when I was a young lad in middle school. When something cool occurred, we would say, "Oh, that's for the win, man." And at the time, that was the coolest thing ever. Now, not so much. But,
And
I
for
kinda
the
just-
win, C Nanners partnered with Machinima. You're an old YouTube soul.
I really am.
Yeah, dude. Top 10 for the win is one of the best series of all time, still to this day.
It's
so.
like what people say in like the 70s. They're like, "Oh, that's radical. Or that's tubular." That's gonna be like For the Win in like 40 years. I'm gonna have to explain. to
Things
people,
don't
like,
stand the test
like,
of
what are you
time.
thinking?
I think that's for the win right now, boss. Not gonna lie.
For the Win is like, yeah.
Yeah, you need to try and change your branding and just delete the last 3 letters and go towards Mr. Boss on
I
its
wish
own.
everything I have is Mr. Boss for the Win. My channel, like my Twitter, like my everything is that.
Yeah, fair enough. Good old Mr. Mega
Wishing
Mario,
about
one of
GTA.
our regular callers, asking the real questions. Good
Yeah.
job.
That is the
real
real
question.
question.
Yeah.
That you should have started with that question. What
Yeah.
were you doing with everything
I
else we talked
know, I
about?
know. I never think to ask about people's names or anything like that. We're not professional. We're
We asked
amateur.
Josh to move.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Mr. Mega Mario. Next up,
Next up, we've got clearly a Dio fan, Mr. Holy Diver.
It's a good
Hello,
song.
caller. You're on the Choking Hazard podcast, the most quaffable show on Spotify. What's your question?
Nas is on today.
Yes!
Nas is
Beautiful.
killing the game.
Well done.
All right. So, first off, I just want to say to Ross before I ask my questions. You mentioned how you do mod videos, etc. I watch your videos and more. I will say I do quite enjoy those videos of a house tour mod or mod tour, whatever. You do those quite well, so compliments there.
Thank you.
But I do have a question. Would you at any time be willing to be in a video or a podcast with Raggedy Dan? Because I know you know him. Having a civilized chat about the things he's mentioned in his rant videos. I also have a question for Adam before I give you some time to think about that one. Adam, after that, would you ever like to have Raggedy Dan on this podcast?
okay.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go.
No, I like I said, I can't. If people want to make videos on me, that's their prerogative. I have, and that's another thing I want to talk about. There hasn't, not that there was any controversy, but on a couple cases, people have accused me of taking down videos like that, where people talk not so nicely about me. I don't care. That's why I don't respond to those videos. That's why I don't ever really engage with them. If people want to make that content, they're free to make that content, and it's not really my prerogative to, just, I don't care. They can do whatever they want, and it's their content. And if it happens to be about me, it happens to be about me.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because, like, if you put anybody on the end of that question and say, would you like to sit down and have a chat with someone who is making awful videos about you? Who would say yes? Like, you'd rather just
I wouldn't.
yeah, you'd rather just forget about it. So, there are ways to do things, I think, and Raggedy Dan in particular, and there's plenty of other channels that have a certain style of the way that they create videos, and they have their own entertainment value for the people who like that as well. And it's not necessarily something that I subscribe to. I'm sure we're going to have many more controversial guests on this podcast, I imagine, hopefully, and maybe we'll have, this will be the start of new things for the podcast. And I would always want to do it in a professional way where we're sitting down having a proper conversation about it. So I don't know, to the question of having Raggedy Dan on this podcast, I mean, why not? Because it would be the same story as everything else. We'd have a guest on, we talk about some topics, and that's it. As long as it's done in a respectful, proper way, which that would be up to him to decide if he wanted to do it that way. Because I wouldn't want him to come on and just do his usual stick on our podcast, because that's not going to fly. So
yeah, and not to throw any trade secrets out there, it is a discussion between the four of us on who we would feel comfortable having on. So
that information isn't necessarily for all of the viewers.
How did I sneak on here?
Yeah,
So,
we decide who we want to have on as guests and whatnot. And in the past, we've had many people on who people don't know about, or just they're just people from the community. And we've always had this podcast to be a community oriented podcast. It's about you guys. It's about bringing people on to have interesting stories or interesting backgrounds or interesting things to talk about. So,
Yeah, I will say
I'm not the head honcho in discussions of guests, for example.
Yeah, well, and with regards to your question of if you are a viewer and you want to see someone on this show, suggest it on Twitter, suggest it in Discord, in Bruff's Discord channel for the Choking Hazard podcast. Don't
in our specific suggestion box, which is available on the command !CH suggestions.
I didn't even know that we had that
in the chat.
But that's the correct way to go about it. The process that we get guests on the show is private, and it's going to be private. We will take suggestions, but that is ultimately something for us to decide.
Yeah.
And just asking, do you have a problem with him being on the show? That's not or something.
Because the answer's always going to be no.
No.
But we just decide who we want to have on in the as we want. But there's lots of people out there who maybe we don't even know about as well, and they're outside of the GTA community. They're outside of what we do, and people have said suggestions of people in the past to have on, and I'm all for talking to as many people about as many different things as possible. That's what a podcast's all about, ultimately.
Yeah, a fun fact: the first suggestion in the suggestion box was "Get Mr. Boss for the win on the podcast." So,
there you go.
Following through,
Mission accomplished.
Through on your feedback.
Done that one. We're all
right.
good. All right. Thank you for the question. Who's next?
Next up, we've got another podcast alum. It's Mikey from Central Gaming Hub.
Hey, caller, you're back on the Choking Hazard podcast. Who is your question for, and what's your question?
My question's obviously for Ross.
I just wanted to know those tones. That
I just wanted to know why you use deceiving thumbnails or deceiving mods in your thumbnails when talking directly about GTA Online. Like, did other people start doing it, so you had to do it, or did you start it? Like, what's the mindset behind the mods in the thumbnails?
What do you mean by deceiving mods?
Like, say, new GTA Online car coming tomorrow, and then it's like a picture of like a real life car rather than a car that's in GTA.
Are you talking about like if like for example, what was the last car that came out, the Comet SR? Like if I were to use a photo of the Porsche 911 GT2 RS instead of the Comet?
I guess, but let me see. Let me find it.
I think what
it
Mikey's
was-
trying to say is I saw one of your thumbnails was like the tax refund has come, and there was a picture of a guy at an ATM and a bunch of money bags coming down.
No, that's not
Kind
what
of like
Mikey's
that though, right?
No.
Or
I
even
know
the video you
what he's
did.
talking. Hold on.
Or the video you did like 2 days ago. It's called Rockstar is doing something very mysterious to GT Online. There's like a guy flexing, and then there's a car we don't have in the game in the background.
A lot of
Like,
it's just what I find interesting. Again, it's just one of the characters in game and a mod. I didn't know what to put for Rockstar doing something very interesting, so I just found a photo that I thought looked really cool. One of the military characters flexing in Fort Zancudo with a car. I just found it interesting.
So
do you
you're
feel like those videos perform better than videos without mods in the thumbnails, or is it just like a personal preference? Like you rather have a thumbnail like that rather than a car that's already in the game?
I don't see a preference either way. It all depends on the video. Like for example, on like when the drip feeding vehicles are released, I'm always going to use a photo of that because it's the car that's out. Just depends on the subject of the video that's going on.
Okay.
Do you think it's like that same old thing we were talking about a bit earlier? How you want the video to be as successful as possible, so you're going to try and bring in as many people as possible.
Yeah, and to the point of like the military guy flexing, like I think that's kind of interesting, and with a car in Fort Zancudo, I think it's interesting. I think it, and at the same rate, it's not like that. The title of that video is new car coming or new Fort Zancudo animation or whatever the case is. It's just a fun screenshot that I saw, and I said, "This looks cool. I'll use it for this video." That's literally the thought process that I have when it comes to something like that.
So your argument isn't necessarily that the thumbnail should always relate exactly to what you're doing.
There are some cases where it absolutely does. Like, for example, like the other day when we got the tax refund thing. I'm sure many people in the chat know what this is. I just took the alert message and just put that as the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a lot easier. Sometimes when it's a discussion topic, like the Rockstar is doing something interesting, there isn't necessarily a car in game that would fit that discussion because I'm not talking about a particular car in game or a particular thing in game. And so I just use an interesting thumbnail that I feel is pretty cool.
Is that really just a thought process though? Like, is that really it? That's the only thing that goes into your mind when you're choosing a thumbnail or a title? The only thing you're thinking of is this is an interesting thumbnail. Like, you're not thinking at all that there's...
I want it to be relatable, obviously. But for the most part, it's just, is this interesting? I don't want the thumbnails to be boring, like just text on the screen that says, Rockstar is doing something interesting.
But there isn't a part of you that is thinking, even just like 25% of it is, well, this will be good to bring people into the video. I mean, there has to be some part of that, right?
I mean, if it does, I don't know what the, if someone sees it and says, that's interesting, I hope that they watch the video and learn something. And as long as they see the title and they see the thumbnail and say, this is something I'm interested in watching, then I don't know. At that point, it's the viewer's decision.
Yeah. Well, I'll help Mikey out and give the best example I can see. Just opening up your channel, I'll give you the best example. Your video 4 days ago, 91K views. It says GT Online new DLC leaks and info, vehicle name, something big coming soon, and more. GTA 5 update, and it features the thumbnail features a model that is a not lore-friendly Greyhound bus. I'm sorry, I don't know the creator. And the Dominator GT, which is a mod on GTA 5 mods made by Aziz. He's on the Vanilla Works Discord, and that's how I know him. And that the argument could be made that this thumbnail leads you to believe that we are getting a new Dominator, or this new bus is coming or whatnot, and that is what Mikey is trying to say, I believe.
So with that video in particular, we were talking about a potential leak that involved, and I don't want to get too much into the specifics because I don't think anyone cares all that much, two of the vehicle leaks, and I say that with very like big grains of salt. One of them was like Vapid Dominator Classic, and one of them was like Vapid Dominator Sturgis, or whatever the case is. And I know that the Vapid Dominator is a Mustang, so I just found that picture that was on the top of the GTA 5 mods vehicle page, and I was like, Mustang, that looks cool. I think people think that looks cool too.
Yeah, I think that it's tricky because you always get people across a different spectrum with this sort of thing. Some people hate anything that is not exactly, even if people want a thumbnail to be a clip from the video only ever. And then there's other people who, as long as it's relatable to what you're talking about, then, whatever. And then you get there's other content creators who will just put something random as a thumbnail and a title, and the video has got nothing to do with any of it. So it's never a clear-cut thing, and there's always this line of, where you're going to fall on that. And again, that's up for every content creator to decide, and up for every viewer to decide of that. I didn't like that thumbnail because it reeled me in when I didn't think that, I thought that car was coming and it didn't, and the video wasn't actually showing that car. And I didn't like that, so I won't watch that video anymore. I won't watch that video. I won't watch any more videos that have that same sort of thumbnail. And people should be able to make that decision for themselves, I guess. It should be a thing that you can decide for yourself. If you didn't like it, then don't watch it.
Yeah, and I will pass on. Like I said, I work very closely with the Vanilla Works guys and their vehicles they do, and. In your video, I'm just watching it, quickly here. You do feature, and I understand why it's relevant to the discussion. You're talking about a new Dominator, and I understand. But I would suggest that you feature these mods, in your videos. Link back, which you do on the showcases. But even in a situation like this, this would be an opportunity to link back to them as well, because they do take it, personally. So that's what I'll pass on there, is with that video in particular. So just as an example.
Anyway, interesting
Thanks,
topic.
Mikey,
we didn't
for
actually
making it all
cover that,
Diane
did we?
Sawyer in here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, goddamn, I got tense.
Thanks, Mikey. Appreciate it.
Anyway.
Anybody else? Or are we done?
That's it, I'm afraid.
There we go. We're done.
All right. Well, this has been fun. I've enjoyed. We've had a good discussion. We talked about lots of different things. Thank you, Ross, for coming on to our little podcast and talking about
thanks for
some
having
things.
me. It was a lot of
being
fun.
a good sport.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So yeah, if anybody wants to listen to us on the audio versions, the links are all in the description. If you want to submit a choke that you've had in the Choking Hazard podcast, for the Choking Hazard podcast choke of the week for next time, the link's in the description as well. For those who don't know anything about Ross, you'll find his information down below in the description as well. YouTube link and all
Give
that.
him credit, good man.
Absolutely, of course, always. And Nos always pimps himself out, so we don't need to do anything.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
come. Hopefully, I get partnered on Twitch soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next
thank-
podcast. Actually, hopefully, you'll have some information.
We'll
about
have the
that.
news back, and we'll probably talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say one thing before we, leave. And it's relevant to the discussion with Ross. You are full within your rights to judge someone's content and judge whether or not you like it or dislike it or what. But when you let your judgment of someone's content affect your opinion on them as a person, that is when you go too far. And saying that, Ross, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I never had any negative opinions towards you. And you can critique your content. Everyone can. That is everyone's right. We talked about that earlier. But I did not allow that to affect my view of you as a person. And if I had, I would have had an incorrect view of you as a person just based on your content, because my opinion of your content, has been negative in the past. And if I would have let that affect my opinion of you, that would have been the wrong thing to do. So that's something for everyone to that they can try to be better on, for sure. So it's been a pleasure having you. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I agree with what you said, by the way. I think that's important.
If I can,
That's nice.
if I can just follow up real quick now, so you know, something along the same lines. I guess I could say like, where are the white women at? God bless.
Always.
Love
I was
you all.
not expecting that.
Love you all. You're
Good
the
on
best.
RDT. Thank you, guys. We shall see you next week. Thanks for coming on, Ross. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll see you all. Do you want to say goodbye, guys?
Goodbye.
Adios.
See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.